Here's Curry for the record. It's good! There it is! Stephen Curry, the all-time three-point king.
Most fans remember this as the night Steph Curry surpassed Ray Allen to become the NBA's all-time leader in three-pointers. But that achievement represented much more than a record. It showed that basketball had officially entered a completely new era, one that Curry helped create himself. He changed the game entirely, not just in the NBA, but the way basketball is played across every level. Reaching 4,000 career three-pointers as the first player in league history was only one chapter of the story. When you step back and consider everything Curry has accomplished, from becoming the NBA's first and only unanimous MVP to redefining what the point guard position can be, you start to realize this isn't simply the career of another all-time great. It's the journey of a player who has accomplished something no point guard in NBA history ever has. Let me show you why. To begin with, nothing sums up Steph Curry's shooting ability better than this quote from James Harden.
You're 34 three-pointers away from being number 2 all-time in three-pointers made. It's Steph Curry and you.
Listen here, I'm going to consider myself number 1. Steph don't.
That says everything about how Harden views Curry. In his eyes, Curry exists in a class of his own, because every time people think they've discovered the limits of what can be done from beyond the arc, Curry pushes those limits even farther. One of the defining moments of that incredible journey came on December 14, 2021, inside Madison Square Garden.
Remember, Curry lets it fly. Oh, and there it is, right away. He has tied Ray.
Ray Allen retired as the greatest shooter basketball had ever seen. But for whatever reason, his success never inspired the entire game to follow his blueprint. Then Steph Curry came along and elevated the three-point shot to a level nobody thought was possible.
Again, here's Curry for the record. It's good! There it is! Stephen Curry, the all-time three-point king in the NBA.
That moment felt like far more than just another made shot. Ray Allen and Reggie Miller, the two greatest shooters before Curry, were both sitting courtside as they watched history happen. But what made the record so remarkable wasn't simply that Curry surpassed it. It was the way he did it. Ray Allen needed 1,300 games to knock down 2,973 three-pointers. Steph Curry passed that mark in only 789 games. That's 511 fewer games, despite dealing with injuries early in his NBA career. And once he claimed the top spot, he never slowed down. In March 2025, Curry became the first player in NBA history to reach 4,000 career three-pointers. Today, that total has grown to more than 4,248, while the closest active player, James Harden, still sits hundreds of made threes behind. As incredible as those career numbers are, they might not even be his most impressive accomplishment. Back in 2013, breaking Ray Allen's single-season record of 269 made three-pointers seemed almost impossible. Then, just a few years later, Curry topped his own mark with 286. During the 2015-16 season, he raised the standard once again by setting an NBA record with 402 made three-pointers. The true scale of that achievement becomes clear when you realize that only a small group of players have ever even reached the 300 mark in a season. In fact, there have only been around 10 303 seasons in NBA history, and Curry alone accounts for 6 of them. Those numbers tell an incredible story. Steph Curry is responsible for well over half of the greatest long-range shooting seasons the league has ever seen. Curry also owns the NBA record for the most career playoff three-pointers with 650. Klay Thompson ranks next with 501, followed by LeBron James with 497. Combine that with 8 seasons leading the league in made threes and 4 NBA championships, and it's easy to see how Steph Curry completely reshaped the geometry of basketball. Considering everything he accomplished, it's no surprise he managed something that not even Michael Jordan ever did. There may never be a day when everyone agrees on who the greatest basketball player of all time is. That's simply the nature of debates like these. Awards and all-time rankings will always spark disagreement. Some fans believe someone else deserved the honor, while others point to stronger statistics, better team success, or greater playoff performances. Even during Michael Jordan's MVP years, some voters believed another player was more deserving. The same was true for LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. Every MVP in NBA history received at least one vote against them, except Stephen Curry. His 2015-16 campaign stands as one of the greatest offensive seasons the sport has ever seen.
Forgot the ball, Russ Smith. Good effort. Banged into Curry again. And he banked it in! From half court. It's gone! He banks it in!
That 45-degree cut.
A double Steph. His brother nearly knocks it away. He shoots over him and makes it!
So he can beat his man a little easier. And then he'll just be able to finish.
Poor Ilyasova. 5 minutes remaining. Curry again for three. Bang!
Game after game, Steph Curry made shots that seemed impossible look completely normal. By the time the season came to an end, his numbers almost didn't seem real. He averaged 30.1 points, 6.7 assists, and 5.4 rebounds per game, while also leading the league in steals. On top of that, he shot 50.4% from the field, 45.4% from beyond the arc, and 90.8% from the free throw line. His 66.9% true shooting percentage was nearly unprecedented for a player carrying such a massive offensive load. As Curry continued rewriting the record books with his individual brilliance, the Warriors were making history as well. Golden State finished the regular season with a 73-9 record, the best regular season mark the NBA has ever seen.
Steph knocked it away at 2 and 1. Curry deep three. Good! Steph back three. He backed it in from the side. 5 minutes remaining. Curry again for three. Bang!
A season like that would normally lead to plenty of debate, but there was nothing ordinary about what Curry accomplished. When the MVP results were announced, he received all 131 first-place votes, becoming the first and still the only unanimous MVP in NBA history. What's even more remarkable is that 2016 was a year when people in America seemed divided over almost everything. Yet, after watching Curry's season, every single voter reached the exact same conclusion. He was the league's most valuable player. As historic as that achievement was, it still doesn't fully define his legacy. Because when you combine that incredible peak with everything he accomplished afterward, his resume becomes something no point guard in NBA history has ever matched. Before Steph Curry, players like Ray Allen and Reggie Miller were already legendary shooters, but their success never changed the way the entire game was played. That was partly because other stars continued dominating with completely different styles. Curry changed that by combining elite shooting with unmatched winning, efficiency, and longevity in a way no point guard ever had. He became the driving force behind a dynasty that captured 4 NBA championships. Along the way, he won 2 MVP awards and added a Finals MVP to his collection. He also owns the highest career free throw percentage in NBA history at over 91%. Each of those accomplishments is impressive on its own, but together they create a resume that's especially remarkable for a point guard. Traditionally, the position has been defined by playmaking above everything else. Magic Johnson, John Stockton, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, and Chris Paul all built their reputations by running an offense and making their teammates better. Curry absolutely does that as well, but he also developed into one of the greatest scorers the position has ever produced. Even more impressive, he accomplished it without giving up efficiency. More than 16 seasons into his NBA career, Curry is still producing at an elite level. At 37 years old, he was still averaging over 26 points per game while knocking down nearly 40% of his three-pointers on more than 11 attempts per night. Most superstars eventually adjust by relying on easier shots, but Curry never stopped taking the toughest ones. Then he brought that fearless shot-making to the biggest stage of all, the Olympic Games.
On to Curry to quieten things down. Of course, Steph Curry with the
With Team USA battling France for the Olympic gold medal, Curry delivered one of the greatest shooting performances international basketball has ever witnessed. In the closing minutes, he buried a series of unbelievable three-pointers that stunned the home crowd, sealed the game, and put the gold medal firmly out of France's reach.
back to Curry. Lovely dribble, puts it up. Oh, this is extraordinary. Have you ever seen anything like it?
He showed on the highest level, he's clutch. Those last 4 shots were pressure shots because if he misses them, it's a different game. People are gonna remember this moment in Steph's career more than probably any shot he's taken.
By the time the Paris Olympics came to an end, Steph Curry had seemingly accomplished everything the game of basketball had to offer. But in your opinion, what stands as his greatest achievement? Winning Olympic gold? Becoming the NBA's only unanimous MVP? Hitting more than 400 three-pointers in a single season? Or is it something that can't be measured by numbers at all? Some players leave behind championships, while others leave behind records. Only a select few leave behind an entirely new version of the sport itself. Before Steph Curry, point guards were expected to control games primarily with their passing. They directed the offense, created opportunities for teammates, and stepped up as scorers only when the moment required it. Curry completely rewrote that blueprint. Steve Kerr shared his thoughts on that transformation during an interview.
I think his unique style, he's an artist, really. He brought a completely different mindset to the game, to shooting. But I think his authenticity, his joy, his perspective, his humility, his audacity, the combination of all that is so unique. I've never seen anybody like him, and I think that.
Instead of breaking down defenses with his passing, he stretched them with his shooting. Defenders suddenly had to guard him nearly 30 feet from the basket, opening up space on the floor that had never existed before. Entire defensive game plans were redesigned simply to contain him. Before long, the rest of the league began following his blueprint. Teams placed a greater emphasis on floor spacing than ever before. Centers and power forwards started developing reliable three-point shots. Young players began practicing pull-up threes well before perfecting the mid-range game. Every franchise searched for the next player capable of warping defenses the way Steph Curry could. It quickly became obvious that the NBA had become a copycat league, and Curry was the player everyone was trying to imitate.
Copying.
Steph was a gift and a curse to this game because everyone, although Steph did it, everyone thinks they could do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he changed the complete, not even just the NBA, the way basketball is played.
Matt Barnes came from an era when the mid-range jumper was the foundation of the game. But during the final years of his career, he witnessed the Steph Curry revolution firsthand. Even now, he still struggles to fully explain it. How does one player reshape so much of a sport that existed long before he did? And what drives someone to dedicate themselves to reaching that level of greatness? The answer is legacy. And perhaps no one can describe what that truly means better than Steph Curry himself.
To me, I feel like legacy is more, it's one, like if you watched me play that you felt in some certain type of way, you felt inspired, you felt like you had you were entertained, you were able to create memories and know where you were when a certain game, a certain shot, a certain championship, whatever happened.
That's what separates Steph Curry from almost every other all-time great. People don't just remember what he accomplished, they remember exactly where they were when it happened. Steph Curry's legacy isn't defined by a single record, one championship, or even one unforgettable season. It's built on a collection of achievements that no point guard in NBA history has ever assembled. Traditionally, point guards have been judged by how they controlled their team's offense, but Steph Curry is the only point guard who changed the way the entire game of basketball is played. That's why he became the first player to make 4,000 career three-pointers, the only unanimous MVP in NBA history, the centerpiece of a four-time championship dynasty, and years after revolutionizing the sport, the star of an unforgettable Olympic performance that will be remembered for generations. No point guard has ever put together a resume like this, and it's hard to imagine anyone doing it again. And if you want to hear NBA players break down Steph's incredible Olympic run, check out the next video, where they discuss why Steph Curry's first Olympics may have been even more memorable than Michael Jordan's final Olympic shot.